Hello and welcome to India News TV here in Brisbane. Today we are bringing to you a very fascinating and insightful interview with Lieutenant General Syed Hasnain, who is one of India's most powerful defense analysts, and also he has a vast experience as one of the most successful corps commanders of the Indian Army, especially when he was posted in Jammu and Kashmir. Lieutenant General Syed Hasnain writes regularly columns in various national and international newspapers, and is also regularly appearing in TV news channels in India discussing India's security and developments in Jammu and Kashmir. We caught up with Lieutenant General Syed Hasnain in an interview to specifically discuss with him how he sees the development in Jammu and Kashmir ever since Article 370 was abrogated last year by the Indian government, and what impact has that decision had on various facets of Jammu and Kashmir, such as security situation, the development prospects, public perceptions, and how do people now look at their own future in Jammu and Kashmir. So we caught up with Lieutenant General Syed Hasnain to discuss some of these issues. Let's take a listen. Thank you, General Hasnain, for joining us today on India News TV on YouTube, sir. It is a profound pleasure to have you with us to talk about an issue which is extremely important, not only for India, but also for the region and globally. And you have been in the armed forces. Now you are a strategist. You write and speak on strategic matters, including on regional disputes and conflicts, and also on Jammu and Kashmir. I mean, many people have written on it, and we have seen this on news analysis as well. So how do you see the linkage between what has transpired in Ladakh between India and China, and what happened last year on the 5th of August?
Very interesting. This question is very interesting, and I have written extensively on this aspect of collusivity between Pakistan and China. Pakistan and China are virtually strategic allies, strategic partners. For many years, it was Pakistan which required China because it knows it's a weaker state, it's weaker militarily, and therefore, if ever a showdown between India and Pakistan happened, it was hopeful, thinking that support from China would be extended. That support militarily never came its way, neither in 1965, it never came its way in 1971, it never came its way in 1999 either. So they continue to live with that hope. The situation turned around quite dramatically after the construction or the announcement of the Belt and Road Initiative. The construction of the China-Pakistan economic corridor and the investment of so much of Chinese money, 62 billion, 70 billion, 80 billion dollars into this for finding an access to Gwadar, to the warm waters of the Indian Ocean and things like that. So the security stakes in Gilgit-Baltistan, Pakistan-occupied Kashmir went up much higher. When this happened, and last year after the abrogation of Article 370, India started declaring its focused attention towards the areas which it claims, it knows that they are part of Indian territory. The 1994 resolution of the Parliament, both houses of Parliament, which was enacted on 22nd of February, which clearly stated that the entire territory of Jammu and Kashmir, which was under the control of the Maharaja, belongs to India. We did not ever demonstrate it in such a robust way as we had done 25 years later after 1994 in 2019, when the message started going out that India would now look at all the territories of Jammu and Kashmir to come back to it. Now, awkward messages started flowing out from this. It was part of psychological warfare. We also know that we are not looking for war. We are not looking for something by which we are going to get these territories back in a day or a week or a month. It's a long-term sentiment which has been attached to it. But I think this is what probably triggered some ideas in the minds of Pakistan particularly, that India may be very serious about Gilgit-Baltistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and therefore the Chinese should be much more serious about it. And perhaps that's one of the inputs in the minds of the Chinese when they started looking at Ladakh with such a focus. And We've seen these kind of activities happening in Doklam, we've seen it in Arunachal, we've seen it in Ladakh in the past also, but this year, to come in such a manner, to do a training exercise in the depth areas and then through deception, to bring those troops forward and try and place them in those very claimed areas of theirs, this was to do a strategic messaging to India that India should not be looking very offensively towards the Gilgit-Baltistan area, this complete region, and that China would exercise its interests, it would pursue its interests very robustly. In many ways, the situation has changed to the extent that today, instead of Pakistan requiring China so much, maybe China requires Pakistan to a very great extent. And this is one of the inputs only for the situation which is emanated in Ladakh at the moment. There are many other reasons for it, as we are aware that China is sensing an opportunity, is looking for a change of narratives in the post-COVID-19 period, is looking for taking the attention away from the Indo-Pacific and bringing it to the Middle East again, with Iran, for example, the Iran deal, which appears to be coming about somewhere, to force the United States to go back to the Middle East and not look at the Indo-Pacific. So it's opened up many fronts, in which one of the most serious fronts obviously appears to be the front in Ladakh at the moment.
Thank you, sir. Just last one. Many people here in Australia, we have read, have been writing in the newspaper and other places, and we've also read, keep reading, a barrage of articles coming from US, from New York Times, the Washington Post, basically ranting and saying that what India has done is undemocratic. This goes against the democratic ethos of India. So people like these who have been now criticizing India's democratic behavior, if I may put that way, in Jammu and Kashmir, what is the message to them?
See, this was expected. There is a Washington Post, New York Times, there is a segment of media, not only in the United States, around the world. There is a media even in the UK. I'm sure there is some media in Australia which must have been speaking and writing in similar tones. You can expect that when a decision of this type takes place, there will be two sides to the coin and opinions will always differ. But the message very clearly is that, first of all, India took all the necessary measures. From 2004 to 2008, if you remember, we went through a long process of negotiations with Pakistan. You must also remember, go back to 1972, the Shimla Agreement. We didn't press home any advantage after winning the 1971 war. We could have done a lot in 1972. The Shimla Agreement would have been a dictated agreement rather than being a negotiated agreement. Thereafter, 1994, we passed the resolution, but we did not go beyond in any way to exercise what we had passed as a legislation of a resolution in our parliament. 2014, when Mr. Modi came to power, I think it needs to be remembered that for about 18 months, 16 to 18 months till 2015, July almost, Mr. Modi was quiet, did not look at Pakistan in any very focused way. But after having done his homework, he started establishing the right contacts with the rest of the world. UFA, we had the first meeting in UFA with Nawaz Sharif. If you remember, he sent Mr. Doval to Bangkok to meet his counterpart from Pakistan. And there was a serious effort on the part of Mr. Modi to do an outreach to the government of Pakistan. It ended, of course, with even Mrs. Sushma Swaraj going for the Heart of India conference to Islamabad. After a long time, you found a foreign minister going to Islamabad. And Mr. Modi surprised the whole world by himself landing up on the 25th of December 2015 in a serious attempt to try and do a transformational kind of a change in the relationship by reaching out to the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Obviously, the deep state in Pakistan was deeply hit by this. They were surprised by it, and they probably felt that if Mr. Modi could get away with this kind of a thing, perhaps he may just succeed in establishing the peace between India and Pakistan. And this is not going to be to their interest. Now, this is the message which needs to go out to all this media, that there were equal efforts towards peace by Government of India, ending with Mr. Modi's serious effort to try and do this in 2015. What was the response we got? The year 2016, starting with Pathankot, going on to Burhan Wani, the mob violence, the 18th September Uri incident, leading to the Nagrota incident. The whole of 2016 was nothing but a series of incidents. And all this was primarily to hijack the efforts of the government of India. So I think people need to see all this in context. You can't just look at the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A and say this is an anti-democratic action taken by India, because this is the people of Kashmir have not been consulted.
Thank you very, very much, General Hasnain. If you like this video, please press the like button. Also, share your views in the comments section. And don't forget to subscribe to India News TV for more such updates. Thank you for watching.